Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This week, we analyze the remarkable marketing skills of Taylor Swift. She has regained ownership of her master recordings, convinced Apple and Spotify to pay artists in a more equitable way. She defied Hollywood. She markets her music in very surprising ways and holds over 70 Guinness World Records. The marketing of Taylor Swift. This week on Under the Influence with Terry O'Reilly.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com. Ho 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 guys, welcome to this year's Christmas treat. This is Heavy Metal Tone's Adventure, the 7 days of Tony Evans' Heavy Metal Chat. Last year we had the 7 dates of Noel, and this year we're going to do the Tony Evans' Heavy Metal Tone's Adventure. So, not as last year, I won't be drinking with my tea. This year I have a nice single malt warming whiskey, as it's Christmas and all those things are festive, and we're going to just on a sort of ramble through the year and highlights and so on. Episode 1. So episode 1 for me this week is going to be, we've opened a little door and there's a picture of a gig, and that little gig is going to be my highlight for this day 1. So, what's my favourite gig of the year? Well, you may ask. I went to a lot last year, or this year I should say, as the year closes out. But some really heavy stuff and some really interesting stuff. But I'm going to say that my highlight for gigs locally was the night that Benji and I spent in the company of Les Zeppelin, the all-female Led Zeppelin band from America. Firstly, they absolutely just rock and roll. They really know what they're doing. Secondly, Benji, I have known Benji for many years, and I know that he likes a bit of a drink at a gig, but I have never seen a man more pissed in my life. He could barely. Luckily, we had the barrier to lean against, because I think he was gonna needing to hold on while he was lying down. It's very nice. It's a Macallan, 12-year-old Macallan. Very nice indeed. Yes, it was a raucous gig. I'd seen him a few years previously, pre-COVID, at the Basement, and there was about, I reckon, 7 or 8 of us. And then, well, probably a bit more, but it felt like that. And this time round, I didn't think it would be that busy, but it was absolutely packed. And I just thought, well, this couldn't get any better. And honestly, the band itself comprised of, obviously, you have your Robert Plant esque singer. Now the band's been through a few lineup changes in its time, but its current members are Steph Paynes, Lisa Squires, Joanne Chu, and Martine Angelides. I know I've butchered their names. Sorry, girls. Brilliant live. Now, interestingly though, the lead vocalist, Marlene, she I believe represented Greece in the Eurovision Song Contest. She lived in the UK for quite some time, and played around there. Lives in New York. I think most of them are from She's just there's not many people that can do Robert Plant well, and she can do Robert Plant very, very well. And then there's Joan Chu on guitar, backing vocals and keyboards. There's a fun lady. She is so much fun. Just, throws it around, really does on bass. Just, and that's, again, John Paul Jones. It's a hard bass player to copy. I mean, a lot of Led Zeppelin copies, there really is, but most of them are masculine, macho, gold chain chomping, flare wearing rip-offs. But this band, they sort of assimilate Led Zeppelin, but they sort of spit it out into an even more modern rocky sound, without pushing away too much from the original sound. And then you've got Stephanie Paynes, or Steph Paynes on guitar. Now, she and theremin, she's one of the best guitarists in the world. She truly is. I think she was one of the best female guitarists in the world. If you ever get a chance to watch her play, she's just astounding, really just amazing. Again, very difficult guitar parts to copy. She does the whole thing with the violin bow. She got this beautiful Gibson she throws around. They look like they're having so much fun on stage, always do. And then you've got Lisa Harrington Squires on drums, backing vocals, and gong. It's got on her Wikipedia page, which I think is hilarious, of course. Now they have released an album, a cover album. It's called. Now it's quite hard to get. You can only really get it on. You can't. Hard copy is difficult. I've just listened to it on Spotify. It was released in 2007, and it's just called Les Zeppelin, I should say. Sorry, Lez Zeppelin. Now I came across them, as I said, late. I didn't know what I was seeing. It was Mark, a friend of one of my wife's boss, was like going, "You should go and see this band." And I was like, "All right, why not? Let's give it a go." And we turned up, and it was just raucous, brilliant, fantastic. And I thought, again, can't wait to see this. And I thought I'll drag Benji along. And people know me, I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan. I don't enjoy Led Zeppelin very often, because he was sort of spoon-fed to me as a child, and I sort of got over it in a big way. And to see a Led Zeppelin cover band, it's particularly with us, where I live, to the basement is a good hour on the bus, and then it's 60 to 80 Australian dollars to get home in the evening, and it's a big night for a cover band. But when you've got an international act as good as this, you cannot pass it up. Absolutely brilliant. And they did all the classics. The gig went for about an hour and a half, I reckon. A couple of encores. But as I said, that one of the highlights was watching Benji. Hadn't been to a gig for a little while, and was letting his hair down a bit, and he'd been sick. And it's just to say that he was steaming. If he'd had a match and lit the top of his head, he would have a blue flame above him. But hey, that was a part of the fun and the rock and roll of it, man. It was just brilliant. Got to chat to the girls afterwards. They follow me on our Facebook page. They're genuinely sort of the down to earth people, and it was probably the gig for me, the local gig of the year. I'll do my interstate or big international act gig of the year in one of the other episodes, probably in 2 or 3, depending where I fit them. Another sip of my lovely whiskey. 1 second. Jingle bells. Lovely. Love this time of year. Very festive. I love Christmas. I always have done. It's very, very important to me. Even though I'm not a Christian, it's important because my mother loved it, and my kids love it, and I just love the togetherness and the bright colour gaudiness and the fun and frivolity of it. And it's not for everyone, and it can be a lonely time for some people. So I hope these little podcasts, if you are feeling a bit lonely at Christmas, that you plug these in, and for 10 minutes of your day, they may just lighten you up a bit. But that was my gig. My local gig of the year for me, and there was a lot of gigs this year that we caught up on, but for local gigs at the basement, that was truly my favourite. It was just, and I could just let my hair down and just just rock and roll, and that's the beauty of rock and roll, isn't it? It doesn't have boundaries, and it's not he's not held back by time. It's just, your own. It's just rock and roll. It's eternal and forever. And that's why I think why the blues that underpins the Zeppelin sound is timeless. And these girls just do a fantastic job. So next time you're in Australia or wherever in the world you are, if they're on if they're on a venue somewhere, make a beeline to it. Whether you're a Zeppelin fan or not, you're going to have a lot of fun because they really know how to party. They really, really do. And I said, Steph is just an amazing guitarist, and Martino is an amazing singer, and and Joanne is a brilliant bass player and keyboard player, and has so much fun. They're just such a great band, just in general. Anyway, that's the end of episode 1 of my adventure. I do love a pun, you know that. Well, there's not much time to waste. We'll won't say too much. We'll see you or chat to you tomorrow for day 2. See you then. Bye now.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This week, we analyze the remarkable marketing skills of Taylor Swift. She has regained ownership of her master recordings, convinced Apple and Spotify to pay artists in a more equitable way. She defied Hollywood. She markets her music in very surprising ways and holds over 70 Guinness World Records. The marketing of Taylor Swift. This week on Under the Influence with Terry O'Reilly.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.